In 1811, a man named DeWitt Clinton spearheaded a massive 363-mile-long canal system, which connected the Hudson River to the Great Lakes. The original canal, which came to be known as the Erie Canal, took 8 years to build from 1817 to 1825, and it included an incredible 83 locks. The canal allowed passengers to travel by boat from Albany to Buffalo in as little as 5 days, a trip which would have previously taken 2 weeks. It was approximately 4 feet deep and 40 feet wide, and with its advanced system of locks, travelers gained a total of 571 feet in elevation between Albany and Buffalo. Quite an impressive accomplishment. But this video isn't actually about the canal. That's a different story for a different time. This one is about me and mine. A few months ago, my wife suggested that we ride a portion of the old Canalway Trail as a celebration for our 13th year of marriage. Of course, I readily agreed and we started making plans. The first thing we needed were some bike upgrades. Unfortunately, I know a guy. Given the time frame we had to work with, we knew that biking the entire canal was out of the question, so we decided to start in the same city where construction on the canal first began in 1817. The sun rose warm on a Monday morning, and we saddled up for the first phase of the trip. Rome to Utica, 12 miles of mostly shade, plenty of wetlands, and a long stretch of elegant cottonwoods. This part of the trip went along rather smoothly, with only a minor hiccup, until something punctured my wife's front tire and we encountered our first real obstacle. But I think there's a life lesson here somewhere. You know, there are no real guarantees in life that you won't hit hard times. I think you could even argue that they're inevitable. I suppose the best you can do is try to find that balance between being ready for anything, yet choosing to live without hesitation. Be prepared, but try not to be afraid. A new tube installed, gear packed away, and now we're even more resolved. The miles fly by uneventfully as we make our way along the towpath, through small villages, along a few highway sections, over a variety of terrain, over the canal itself, and eventually crossing the train tracks that were partly responsible for making the canal obsolete. The canal is beautiful this morning, and about 29 miles into the ride, we stop for a snack. Refreshed once more, we set out along one of the more lovely sections of the trail. It's one of those kind of days in which the whole world seems balanced. We've overcome a few obstacles already today. We've shown that we have some grit and, well, we're feeling pretty strong. Besides that, the flowers are blooming and the birds are singing a lovely song. It's nearly a perfect day to be alive. And then, just like that, flat tire number 2 happens. Now you might be thinking that I was frustrated at this point, and I suppose I sort of was. But truth is, if you're going to have a flat tire, let it be in a place like this. I can't help but wonder if there's another lesson that I'm supposed to get right about now. After all, if you know what to look for, there's always something good in every bad set of circumstances. I suppose the challenge is learning how to actually see it. Soon enough, we saddle up once more and continue our way eastward. However, a few hours later, as I'm zipping down a hill, I hear the sound of rapidly escaping air and, well, yeah, you guessed it. Flat tire number 3. I think that has to be some kind of a record. We pull over under the shade of a cottonwood, patch it up, have a snack, drink the last of our water, and pedal onward. I mean, what else can you do? By now you might be thinking, why bother? But it wasn't nearly as bad as it sounds. Scattered in between those low moments were plenty of exhilarating moments, like burgers, wild and wonderful scenery, and of course the simple truth that I get to do all of this with the love of my life. We decide to take supper in the town of Canajoharie, and afterwards we have to decide if we should find lodging here or if we should push on to Amsterdam. And long story short, we decide to push on for another 23 miles. So for the next 2 hours, the sun slowly sets and we pedal into darkness. Fireflies light the pathway before us, and the sounds of daytime slowly fade with the sun's light. Around 9 p.m., we come out of the woods and descend into the village of Amsterdam, New York. And let me just say this: civilization has never looked so wonderful. Ever so slowly, we pedal up to the Amsterdam castle, and upon entering, we find the lodging there to be the incarnation of comfort itself. After a full day of 84 miles in the saddle, sleep is rather an easy find. Our plush evening at the castle was followed by a miraculous event known as the Power Burrito. Special thanks to Gina from Evolve Eatery in Amsterdam, whose faith in God is evident not only by her shop decor, but also by her general sense of excellence. Once again, if you're ever in Amsterdam, here's a gal you should stop and see. After a satisfying breakfast and a leisurely morning overlooking the city, we saddle up once more for day 2. We're cycling through urban areas by now, so the countryside is slightly beginning to change. Nevertheless, it is hard to hide natural beauty, and it is everywhere. So we take our time and enjoy a few stops along the way. We're closing in on the eastern end of the trail by now, and cities are beginning to loom before us. This part of the trail weaves its way through the urban sprawl. Less than 5 miles from our rendezvous spot in Albany, We hit a barrier on the trail, and a detour directs us down a very noisy set of streets. And to complicate things even more, a thunderstorm comes sweeping in and dumps a tremendous amount of rain upon the city. Fortunately for us, a very kind gentleman allows us to take refuge in his garage. At this point, there's only one thing left to do. Simply wait. After a while, the radar showed that the worst was over, so we donned our rain jackets and determined to finish the last few miles to the trail's end. Little did we know that the last mile of our ride would turn out to be the most epic of all.
We were 40 miles from Albany, forget it I never shall. What a terrible storm we had one night on the Erie Canal. Oh, the Erie was rising and the gin was getting low. I scarcely think we're gonna get a little drink till we get to Buffalo.
It's difficult to explain it. You'll either get it or you won't. But somehow this kind of an ending to the ride was almost perfect. Sure, it would have been nice to come sailing into town on a bright and sunny day, but something about this melancholic ending seemed just right. We had pushed ourselves a bit, riding 130 miles in 2 days. But here we were, still standing, together. Wet, saddle sore, a little worn down, but feeling just a tad bit heroic. It really seems to be true. Some of life's best moments are brought about through what we perceive to be the toil of life. Too often we see only what is missing or what is wrong, like flat tires, confusing sections of the trail, or oppressive heat. But I cannot help but think of all the goodness we encountered along the way. The people who helped us out, mending tires or offered shelter from a rainstorm. Even a random lady who offered us refreshments in the True Value parking lot. Let me put it like this. Whatever your outlook is on life, whatever words you choose to believe this: there is still plenty of goodness left in this world. You just have to develop the eye to see it. There will be long, hard days and plenty of climbing. But I believe that God is real, and I believe that His goodness is hidden everywhere. You and I just need to do ourselves a favor and keep an open eye for it. Until next time, don't forget to get out and write your own story.